All right, let's talk about the NX. And here's my thoughts on this. I'm just gonna say this right now. Um, it's a big surprise that they're gonna release this system in 2017. And I understand that a lot of you guys are not happy with the Wii U. Let's be honest, you're not happy with the Wii U because this system, let's face it, it wasn't the best idea that Nintendo came up with. Even though it was a little bit innovative, it was a little bit not the best idea that they could think of, but they did it. But I kind of like the system. It was like a Wii U 2. You can play. It's backwards compatible to Wii games, and it had you could play old games as well. It allowed you to play those games. But the one thing that most people had an issue with was the lack of memory storage in this game. That was the biggest problem with this system. It lacked storage, and they were using old hardware, old old stuff. Like for example, it only allows you to use two for SD slot. You're only allowed to have a 2 gig SD slot to store memory on this thing, and now it's useless because most people can only they have like 32 gig SD slots to 120 gig SD slots now, and it's not even compatible to that. And this is the bigger problem. And the only way you can store memory into this thing was to get a USB powered hard drive, which I mean powered, not non-powered, because there is no way you can put an SD card in there and expect it to save a lot of memory. It can only use 2 gig, and that's the biggest problem with it. And you can only use a freaking USB hard drive that is powered. Like, you have to have a powered USB hard drive to work, which a lot of people, got frustrated with it, and especially the problems with the old 8 gig models that they had, the white ones. Here was the biggest problem, and they had to discontinue it because of the problem. They found out that this thing this thing, once it overloads the memory, it will freeze up. That was the biggest problem with the old models. Thus, they discontinued those models, those 8 gig white Wii U's. They had to discontinue them because it was very much a big problem. They didn't want to be embarrassed or ashamed by it. And I understand that Nintendo had this didn't want to admit it, but they did because they had a bigger problem. But it saved them if they for a reason, because you can easily um, you can easily just put USB storage in there and it would work just fine. And I enjoyed my old 8 gig model. It's actually working pretty fine. Thank God. If I didn't have the USB powered hard drive for it, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But it's fine. But right now, Wii U right now is only the only system that's not successful. As you can see right here, it isn't really very successful. Considering the sad part is it's out. It only has like 13 million in sales, and the Xbox is at 20 million, and the PS4 is at 39, almost at 40 million, almost. And their 3DS is doing so well. I don't know why, but it is. And it's the truth. Their 3DS is actually keeping them afloat in their business because a lot of people love the 3DS and they're still buying it even though it breaks constantly. Because I know a lot of kids that like the flip versions of the 3DS instead of buying the 2DS, which I understand a lot of people still buy those. And for the NX to come in unexpectedly, it's a big surprise there. It is a big surprise because they are trying to market this, and I think they're trying to get ready for this for next year because they're going to try to market this. They're going to market the hell out of this and make sure it becomes a success. They're risking, and I think they're trying to put a huge, making sure they have a big strategy plan to market the system because let's face it, there is a lot of rumors going around about the Nintendo NX that it will have 12 gigs of RAM. It will probably have some storage. It would probably have a faster processor, a better graphics processor, and and so forth. But we need to find out because this is the next gen, and a lot of rumors are going around that hey, it's possible they're going to put 4K on. Well, you know how Nintendo is. They probably are going to stick with the 180p thing because there's a lot of people. Because you know how Nintendo's strategy last year was, their old method was they would rather stick to 180p because it's kind of the old strategy from their old days that most people don't have 4K TVs and people are still sticking to uh, HDMI cable. But we don't know if that's going to be possible. They're going to support 4K on their system. Other than that, there's also the fact that people are gonna that there's rumors going around that Nintendo is going to make a VR system, which I don't know if that's going to be true, but that's just a rumor going around spreading about the possibility that Nintendo's doing this. And I don't know. I want your thoughts on this, guys. What do you think? What would be the possible information about the NX? Because there is a lot of stuff going on, and there's a lot of talks about it, especially for they're going to possibly release it at the same time as the Nintendo Zelda Wii U and the Zelda NX version. Tell me what you guys think. Leave your comments down below. Anything that's on your mind. I want to know. Bye. Catch you later, guys.